Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today is the last day of Vlogmas, and we're going to end on a bit of a sour note. We're going to be talking about books that I just did not care for the last half of the year. Like I said in my favorites video, I did this the first time around back in June, and I focused on the months of January to June, and this one we're going to be talking about books that I disliked that I read during July to December. For the first book, we're actually going to be talking about a book that I rated relatively highly for this list. It's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and it's because I keep flipping if I want to rate it 3 stars and 2 stars. Right now it's 3, and it's only a 3 because I'm actually interested in knowing what's going to happen to a particular character. If that wasn't the case, I would definitely rate this 2 stars. It follows our character Alex, who gets recruited to join this organization because she can see greys or ghosts. The timeline is very weird. We follow Alex present day in like the winter semester, and then it flips to the next chapter where it's like 3 months prior, and we meet Alex with her mentor Darlington. And the flipping back and forth really confused me. Because we started in present day, she was already talking about stuff that she was already trained in, which left me very confused. What are the rules of the land? I don't know what I'm supposed to know, what I'm not supposed to know. I was very confused for a good portion of the book, and I did not like that. But I did like the mystery of Darlington. Because we kept flipping in the present timeline, he's missing, and in the next timeline, he's not. So I was interested in finding out what happened to him and why he had gone missing, and that was the only thing that kept me engaged. This book had dark themes for the sake of dark themes. Like at one point, a ghost does sexually assault Alex when she's younger, and that was a very intense scene. I would have preferred not to have read it. And there's another scene where she manipulates a guy into eating actual poop because he sexually assaulted someone else, and because this person was her friend, she wanted to get revenge on this guy. She uses this powder into getting him to eat poop, and that was such a very descriptive scene, and it grossed me the heck out. I actually had to skip it, and there was just a lot of that, and that's why I keep hinting whether or not I want to read this 2 stars. Maybe I'll rate this 2.5 stars on Goodreads, but I will not read book 2 right away. I'm going to wait to see what people are saying about book 2, because I want to know what happened to Darlington, because his story continues on in the next book. I honestly just want to be spoiled, just so I don't have to read the next book. The next book that's on this list is also a popular one. It's Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. The concept was interesting, but the pace was so freaking slow. I guess the main synopsis is this: Reed is an alchemist and he wants to ascend into godhood, and so he creates these twins, like 3 sets of twins, and he's raising each twin to ascend to the greatest power, because once they become powerful, he can control them and become powerful in turn. However, it actually focuses more on the storyline of one set of twins, Roger and Dodger. I know, how quaint, all of their names rhyme. It's like that for the other set of twins too. Don't know why it was born, well, it was. Honestly, I thought it was overly quaint, and like that was unnecessary. And it really just follows the relationship between Roger and Dodger, and how as they grow older, they realize that they actually have a mental link, and they can talk to each other even though they're on opposite ends of the United States. And it's them developing that relationship and then realizing that maybe their relationship wasn't so good, and they break off for a couple years and they get back together. It's very complicated and at times traumatic, but it was interesting to see that dynamic, I guess. But because it focuses on that, the main point of the story and the climax didn't happen until very close to the end. And when we finally got to the end, Reed was revealed to be a very boring villain. I was not impressed by him, and for me, my villain has to be, I have to understand what the point is, what their motive is, and this guy's point was just power. Okay, boring. Why do you want power? So I rated it 2 out of 5 stars, and I found it to be overall very disappointing. My next book is Christmas themed. It's Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. I rated this 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. So it's a novella. It's a very quick read that follows Luther and Nora Crank, and they send their daughter off to Peru on some sort of, I don't know, charity thing or good work event or human services. I don't know what she's doing. Like the Peace Corps. Frankly, they only vaguely like touched on it really quick, and then she was gone. And because their daughter's gone, Luther's like, you know what? Christmas is expensive and completely unnecessary. Let's skip it and go on a cruise. And he convinces Nora that, hey, we should do that. But when they say skipping Christmas, they absolutely mean skipping Christmas. No presents, no buying special food, no tree, no decorating, no giving to charity. Because they were just, you know what? Christmas is just not happening this year. And then at the last possible moment, like the day before they're supposed to leave for their cruise, their daughter unexpectedly comes home, and that causes shenanigans. The Christmas movie, Christmas with the Cranks, is based off of this book. I did not like it. I thought Luther and Nora were bad people, terrible people, and I couldn't necessarily root for them. And for me to enjoy a book, I actually have to root for the main character, and because I thought they were trash, I just could not enjoy this. Moments were, I guess, entertaining. Some of it was just cringy and it was like, ugh. The next book on this list is another 2-star read. It's Romanoff by Nadine Brandes. I'm pretty sure I made fun of this book several times at this point. It's pretty self-explanatory. Romanoff follows Anastasia and her family when they're exiled after the Bolsheviks uprising and the Tsar is taken out of power. And this follows her family in exile. And it has like this fantasy twist to it. Rasputin actually has like magical ability, and honestly, it's been so long since I read this book, I'm not entirely sure what the magic really is. They don't actually explain it in the book. It's like ink magic. They write it down and they have to use special ink, and then that ink transfers to the person and it can heal that person. And because he was basically the magical doctor of the youngest Romanoff, that's what really caused the tension with the Bolsheviks, or at least that's how it's explained in the book. Like, the Bolsheviks actually think this ability is very evil, and so they start hunting down people who have that ability. And so Anastasia wants to continue doing this magic to help her brother, because her brother has, oh god, what's that blood disorder that you can't clot? I don't know offhand, but you guys know what I'm talking about. She wants to still continue this ability so she can help him, which of course causes issues. So she has to like hide it in a way, which is really hard to hide when you're a prisoner and you're constantly being watched. And this magic is actually what's explained, and it explains how she survives and her family doesn't. It's not a spoiler because this actually happens roughly around halfway through the book, and then what happens for the rest of the book is what I won't go into. The magic was kind of just glossed over. I'm like, hey, this is a thing. I'm like, well, that's nice. How is it a thing? And the fact that we kept referencing it with no explanation like bothered me a lot. This book is also part romance, and she like falls for her guard, and that romance also sort of fell flat for me. I guess overall I want to say this was overly dramatic with no real substance, which is why I only rated it 2 out of 5 stars. And the last book on this list is something that I did read relatively recently. I read it for a very merry readathon, only because I just needed stuff to read to fulfill challenges, and honestly, if it wasn't for this readathon, I would never have read this book, because this is actually the one book that I rated 1 star on this list. It's Snowed In by Rachel Hawthorne, and in theory, it was a cool idea. Ashley, who's our main character, moves from Texas to the small Minnesota town, and she makes it very clear from the beginning, I like to date. I love boys. Very into it. I don't want an actual relationship because I'm just not ready for it. I'm not interested in it. And she goes off on quite a bit of tangents on it. And after the first couple of sentences, I'm like, I get it. You don't want to date. And it's supposed to set up this conflict for her growing attraction to this one guy. She finally gets to this Minnesota town. She meets a guy. She's very interested in him, but she finds out he has a girlfriend. All right, okay. Not interested then. You're taken. But the attraction continues to grow. She kisses him anyways, and oh no, what have I done? But that's pretty much all of the romance really followed, because the rest of the book was, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do this. There was no real romance to this book. It's listed as a Christmas romance with no romance. You'd think that this would be considered slow burn, the amount of no's that they kept giving each other, but I couldn't even vibe with this romance. Like, this couple couldn't do it. Like, I didn't like the guy. As soon as he kissed her, knowing that he had a girlfriend, I'm like, alright, you're trash. And I'm going to spoil the ending, and I'm spoiling the ending because that's how much I disliked it. So they finally agree at the end of the book to go on a date, but she still does not want to be in a relationship. And he goes, you know what, I understand. However, I do wish you would change your mind. And that's how they leave it. A Christmas romance with no romantic happy ending. Why? Why would this even exist? If that was... And all the characters were just very simple, one-dimensional characters, and they were just there to move the plot along. Like the girlfriend of the guy would only call him as the boyfriend and not by his name, but they never explained why she did that. And I'm still very perturbed by that, because I questioned it in my readathon vlog, and I'm still questioning it now. So I absolutely disliked this book, which is why I rated it 1 star. At the very least, it was a very fast audiobook, especially while listening to it on like two times speed. And it fulfilled a challenge. That was the only good thing that came out of it. Disappointment aside, we're going to pop into the last ornament of this advent calendar. I feel like I know what we're going to get, so I'm not going to be surprised unless it's completely different. But let's pop into it and see. Oh, F it. This is basically done. Let's just rip it right open. And yep, exactly as I suspected, a Ravenclaw stocking. Now that we finally unboxed all of these, in theory this was fun. I only like the characters. I didn't really have any interest in this. I feel like this would have been 10 times better had it been all characters. Maybe one set of the house stuff, like the stockings or the crests, not both. I feel like this was fun but lazy. I guess we're just gonna throw it here. Well, yeah, that was alright. Like, I still love Hedwig. Hedwig is still my favorites. I guess we're done. Vlogmas is officially over. Let me know down in the comments a book that you just detested. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye, guys.